right, guys. I believe we are officially live. Give everyone a minute to get the notification and jump on. So I've got a few people in the chat. You guys, let me know where you're from. Let me know if you guys can hear me as well as see my screen. All right, microphone check 1 2 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5. James, audio good, perfect. Video good, love it. All right. All right, cool, perfect. All right, guys. I will go ahead and get started here. Just wanted to take a moment and kind of just go through and kind of dedicate these live sessions for you guys. Cover any kind of specific questions you guys may have, answer any kind of questions around some of my technical analysis styles, as well as any kind of special requests. So I'll dedicate probably about a half hour or so, give you guys until about 4:15, and if you guys don't have any requests, then I'll go ahead and dive in and do some own. All right, perfect. James, thanks for jumping on. Ellen from London, love it. Tuned SI, is that the TDI indicator? Yes, yes it is. I love that thing. Cool. All right, guys. First, I will go ahead and dive into some Riot. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, it's definitely one that I've been following for quite some time, and we're kind of, I guess, in my opinion, more of kind of at a decision point as we go through and look at this bounce. So overall, to kind of start a little bit more on the macro scale here, this 80.95 was actually a main point that we got in regards to hitting the 1.618 as a overall third wave. We kind of went into a little bit more of a triangular formation, which is common for a fourth wave. However, we did break down, which is still okay, and I'm seeing this more in regards to more of an ABC correction here as we came down and we found some support right roughly about the 786. I believe around 33, 32 is where we found some support and got a little bit of a bounce. So I am seeing a 5-wave move down, but as we dive into a little bit more of the deeper time, or I guess smaller time frame, there's a couple things that I do want to point out. So if you guys watched my video yesterday, I was talking about this $41 mark where we've got to establish that as support, and kind of use that as a bouncing point to continue on to the north side. So the bullish and the bearish scenario here on Riot was basically this for wave 1. This is our 2 overall for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to finish off the C leg of the ABC, and then bouncing up with a 5-wave move. Now I was expecting this move to come up and break the pivot point, and in the video I covered yesterday for this being the 1.618 extension of the C wave, you can see we tagged it perfectly to have this overall as an ABC. So that was our bearish scenario. Now what's interesting is we did have a rejection here, and we did come back down and found support back around the $39 and $40 mark. You can see post-market we're sitting back at almost 42 again. So what is possible as well as what we want to take a look at is if we look at the retracement here. You can see we came back down and we found support right at the 382. Being that this is a little aggressive, one thing we'll need to watch is if on this bounce up that we got, is if this does go into and it does break the recent high at roughly 44, then that would invalidate this as a wave 1. To have basically this overall be a 4th wave and then have another leg down for a fifth. So that would be our invalidation, is if we came up and we broke that, broke this prior high, because it is possible that this could be our wave one and then have an A, B, C correction within here, and really not go below the 37 again. In regards to holding support, that $40 mark is a pretty important level. As we've been going through, you can see it was support here, turned it into support here, and still support here. So if I'm not a big fan of losing that, if we do, it needs to be super quick. We need to bounce right back up and continue on to the north side if we are looking at something to be a little bit more of impulsive. So it is something we need to look at, to have this as a wave one ABC correction here for a two, and then take off again for a third, which would set us up and start going for some north side targets that I'm looking for ultimately in the longer term of at least $130, and even more so higher than that. So overall, that's what I'm looking at for Riot. You can see that even on the 30-minute, we have our divergence that's set up with the lower low on the RSI, and starting to see that tick up, as well as a nice little buy dot there on our market liberator. So we'll see what it turns into, but kind of depends what we go through for this week. Speaking of Riot, since it does need to dive into a little bit more of the Bitcoin reaction, let's go ahead and take a quick look at Bitcoin here, as that is a key performer for Riot. If Bitcoin goes up, Riot's going to go up. So that's what we need to pay attention to in regards to the overall move here for Bitcoin. So if you guys have been following my technical analysis, this blue line right here is major resistance for Bitcoin to get back over. It's going to be a hurdle, but it needs to happen in order to get back onto the the bullish train a little bit. So we had a great bounce down here at 47. Huge buy up, went super quick, and it did come across impulsive, and we did break the 1.618 for this to have an ABC. So this is leaning more of this potentially being our wave one, coming into our wave two, and then starting our wave three. So if I clean this up a little bit, we can dive into this right here. Was a big concern that I had yesterday, was overall this can be considered a swing fail. However, we didn't get straight continuation to the downside. We kind of trickled down a little bit, which is okay. You can see we're finding support right back here on a pivot at 52.4. To look at a potential bounce to continue on and potentially retest the 55.5 mark again. So if that is potentially a wave one, if we do our retracements here, it looks like it would be a 382 bounce as well, which if that's the lowest that we go, that's bullish. If that's the lowest retracement that we have on a potential wave two. So we can go down to the 618 as a potential retracement. This is another area of support that we were kind of dancing around back here as well. Down here at 49.5, so another area of support here. This is the main one that I wouldn't want to lose in the near term if we are looking at continuing on to the north side. I am overall, this overall right here would end up potentially being our wave one. This would be a wave two to come down and retest the 382. And then to get a bounce and continue on to the north side. If we look at the hourly, what's pretty impressive is to see the RSI just completely reset with this move down. So we're starting to see our indicators move down and reset faster than what price is, which is also a bullish sign that we want to take a look at and make sure that we have some support down here at the 52.4 mark. So this is the main one that I'm watching, the 55.5. We got to break that. We need to break it with power. What I mean with power is we have to go up with conviction well above it, potentially come back down, retest it, and then take off again. So if you guys aren't already in a position, that is, one of the strategies I'll look at is breaking heavy resistance points or resistance points in general, waiting for the retest, and jumping back in if need be. Let's take a quick look at ETH. Let's do some ETH. All right, so ETH has just been a monster. So if you guys have been paying attention to my analysis on ETH at all, it's just been grinding like nobody's business. Bitcoin had a pretty massive dump while ETH just had a little bit of a correction, which is entirely okay. So you can see that we do have a trend line that has actually just been holding it up. And if we look at our indicators here, again, we've just been bouncing off of the bottom of the bearish control zone, boom, 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 finding it as supports. And I was looking at this overall to have a break up to 29.3 of breaking this trend line. So it's been a pretty soft break, but you can see that it has been holding as support, multiple times. As it's retested it, and it's been holding so far. So if we do lose the overall trend line right here, as well as this one, you can see we also have a resistance point too, which is now support down at basically 2,700. So if we do lose that, and we come back and back test it and have a rejection, it's also going to depend what the indicators look like as well. But that would make me lean a little bit more bearish. But overall, ETH has just been grinding, making new highs, while Bitcoin's kind of just been sitting there, not looking the best. So let's see. James, nothing has clean wave structure to me right now. Yeah, it can be frustrating when there isn't very clean wave structure. That's why I kind of like to take a look across the board and see if something is leaning, I guess, to a better count. Overall for Bitcoin, for me, it does tend to have a little bit more confusing wave structure than what it has before, which is why I like to look at Riot and compare Riot to Bitcoin, just because even from the whole run up. On Riot, I can zoom out and take another look, and I'll show you. It has a much cleaner wave structure than what Bitcoin does, but that's kind of also like to look across the board, just because a lot of times they somewhat move together, and it can give us a little bit more insight in regards to a direction to potentially go. But ETH is kind of its own right now, where again it's just been standing out and just making new all-time high after new all-time high. While just holding a steady grind and staying out of the bearish control zone, which is important if we're going to continue to go to the north side. So this was, we can actually take this guy off the table here. So I am leaning more this being a impulsive wave, because if this was a C wave, we would have gotten rejection back up here at the trend line. But instead we did continue on and go to the north side. So I am leaning more of this being an impulsive wave up, this being the wave one, and then this being our wave two, and then starting off on a wave three. This guy right here isn't, to your point, it's not very clean overall for a wave three. And we need to start seeing some, power going back to the north side, because then, for an impulsive wave, it doesn't normally just grind like this, which is, what we want to see some power coming through, but we also need the rest of the crypto market, including Bitcoin, to do the same. So I think with Bitcoin dominance lowering, has been a big contributor to ETH going back up towards the high side, I guess. Setting in some higher highs. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at Doge. All right. So this guy here, main two zones that I was looking for, for a bullish perspective that we needed to protect. One was 25 cents. Obviously, we had this dump that went back through. However, we had an extremely quick buy up that got us back over it. So very important zone to watch is the 25 cent mark for support. And when I did the other video, the basically 30 cent was the other point that we got to break and establish as support. So we have done that. It has been kind of hanging on top of it, testing it a couple times, and it keeps getting bought up, which is a fairly bullish sign. However, kind of, I guess across the board, even on in traditional markets, it's been somewhat stagnant in just in regards to just kind of trending sideways. I think there's just a lot of indecision. There were some earnings this week, which kind of moved some things a little bit, but not drastically in one way or another. Looking at our indicators here, we can see that even though we are trending sideways, RSI has been resetting, and looks like right on the 40. Yep, nice little bounce right here off of the 40, and a nice little buy signal down here on a market liberator as well. So it is nice to see the indicators reset as while we're trending sideways, to give us a little bit more momentum, a little bit more power to push back upwards. So, all right, I went through, did a couple things. What kind of questions do you guys have? Any particular requests I can take a look at for you guys? By the way, if you guys are not in the Discord, make sure you guys click the link. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already. But in below, there's a link to the Discord. Make sure you guys get in there and check it out. There is we just brought in Freedom Trader. He is a full-time professional traditional market trader. So make sure you guys get in and check it out. It's a 7-day trial, completely commitment free, so that way you can get in, have access to all the channels, make sure it's something you're gonna like. But you get access to his calls, you get access to basically my crypto bot signals that go through, and you can see, today, had some nice calls today for the shorts, and then a nice little bounce in the long. Basically have it set up for Bitcoin, ETH, and DOT. There will be some additional assets added later, as well as traditional markets. ETH has just been, like I said, a monster, but we had a nice call here for the long for take profit both zones, then flip to a short, take profit both zones. Now we're flipped to a long. So great signals in that aspect, as well as just overall a great community. We have about 700 members total. We get to see the traditional markets and crypto markets and trade side by side on both of those as well. And we also get to see a little bit of bragging as well. So make sure you guys check the links in there, grab that already if you haven't. But so far it's been a pretty awesome group with about 700 traders in there. Again, some of them full-time professionals. So great group to get in and check it out. Let's see. Tune SI, which TDI do I use? Let's see. There's only one TDI that I know of. Let me know if you know of more than one, but there's only the one TDI that I use. If you're talking about the zones that I added in, like these guys, these are manually added into it. But yeah, there's only the one TDI that I know of. So let me know if you know of any other ones. Let's see. Let's go back to Riot real quick, and then I'll show you guys the macro count that I'm looking at. So I'll kind of ignore this cluster right here since we were on a micro scale compared to this. All right, so the reason why I was looking at Riot and kind of comparing that overall to a Bitcoin position is with a count, we have a much cleaner count with a 5-wave start, with a wave 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves within the third wave right here. Now it is possible to have this as an ABC zigzag. Not a huge fan of it. Just the overall structure, normally we see that happen a little bit more. There's normally a bigger wave right here in the middle for a B wave on a zigzag. So with a shorter wave, that's what's making me lean more towards of a wave 2 going into a wave 3. What's also pretty impressive with where we are currently, we've had price dip down to basically, that $37 mark, so about right here. Is if you look at RSI, RSI has almost completely reset, while again price has trickled down a little bit. So that's very common to see within a fourth wave, which is making me lean towards Bitcoin also being in a fourth wave as well. So again, that's kind of what I like to look across the board, just in regards to a couple different assets to help give a little bit of clarity, and kind of go from there. Let's see. Ernest, cheers. Cheers, sir. Thanks for joining in here. Tuned SI, there are ones by different people on TradingView. Let me see. Let's see if I can pull up to see who I have mine on. Give me one moment. All right, so I use the TDI, the Traders Dynamic Index, from Bromley, Bromley. That's the one that I use, so hopefully that answers your question. Cool. All right, sounds like it did. All right, awesome. So I'll give everyone a second here. If you guys have a specific asset you want me to cover real quick, I can definitely do that. If not, I will jump in and get those out of here. Got it. Cool. Awesome. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and jump in, and I'll cover some sushi real quick. And again, look at a macro, and I obviously haven't cleaned this up as I've been going, so look at a macro here and then go into more of a something a little bit more narrow. All right, let's just go to the daily. All right, so for overall in this run up here on sushi, it played out quite nice in regards to tagging these levels that I was looking for an extended third wave. So basically with the extended third, we can see we had our wave structure right here was missing an additional wave. So we were at the 1.618, but we were missing a wave on this guy. So from a wave count perspective, the extended wave to the 2.236 definitely got us there. And you can see that it's actually kind of doing the same thing as a lot of the other assets that we've been looking at as well. We've been kind of trending sideways, and we did get a nice little bounce here off of this support, which I was looking for us to come back down and tag it a little bit sooner than what we did. So it took a little bit longer to get there. However, we did get there and got a nice little bounce on it. So with the RSI completely reset at this point, basically this was our high right here at our third wave. This was our peak. And for the grind sideways, seeing the indicators reset, again, makes me lean a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more bullish scenario, I guess, a little bit more bullish bias as well, just because, across the board, we're seeing a lot of sideways movement, with indicators resetting. So that is again kind of leaning to me that this would, you know, kind of make a longer fourth wave, which is okay. You know, from the rule of alteration, I guess we want to take a look at. You know, you can see we had a very short wave 2, which generally will have a longer wave 4. So it's kind of vice versa. If we have a longer wave 2, then we'll have a shorter wave 4. But with a very short wave 2, longer wave 4 is expected. But it's good to see a nice little bounce here off of that support, basically 11.2. Beyond that, the next one I'd really take a look at is, you know, down at $8, $8.25. You know, somewhere within there. Once we start pushing that, then I would start leaning a little bit more bearish in regards to the downside. However, you know, I'd like to see a little bit more continuation to the north side across the board, as the wave 4s, in my opinion, are starting to get a little drawn out, and it's making me a little nervous, I guess, if you know, the longer that they take. So let me get caught up on chat real quick. All right, XMR USD. Let's take a quick look. Look at that. All right, so man, that thing is just, that kind of reminds me of ETH, I guess, where it's just been making new highs with, you know, some of the other ones going across the board. Let's see, I would say I'm trying to figure out if this one is going to be at wave 2 or if this is the fourth wave within the first wave. And from a structure standpoint, there 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would lean towards something like that just because of the length here. It is possible that this could be a, you know, a super short wave 2, and this was a 4 for a 1. Because basically, if this was the wave 5, then this right here would be a wave 1 within the third. And then this whole thing right here, this looks more of like a fourth wave within the third wave. And then we're going up for our fifth. Let's see. I'm gonna hit this guy, and then yep, would you look at that? Hit the 1.618. So, yeah. I mean, overall, it looks super healthy. I don't foresee any kind of major drop coming in the near future. From what I'm seeing, I wouldn't expect one anyway. I would see this as our ABC with our basically our fourth wave. And then starting off for the fifth right now. So a point that I would definitely pay attention to is the 2.236, but that's at 515. So it's definitely got some room. You can see we're right at the R4 here as well as a resistance point. If this is what we did, again, to be cautious of, trying to get a bull and a bear count, is if this is a fourth wave within the fifth, basically have this as our A, this would be a B, and then we come back down for a C. I'd like to see the R3 hold a support basically at 370, 368, somewhere within there, and then take off again to get us back up to that 515. So again, this is the 4 hour. Yeah, I'd also like to see it come back down and test the bottom of the volume band. So I think it's got some room to go to the downside. I don't think it's got major room, but I think there's an opportunity for it to come back down. Yeah, I mean, I would say 360 at the lowest. Yeah, based upon the indicators here. But if this is going to come down for a C, yeah, I mean, the 618 is right back there at the pivot, so it is a possibility. So I'd basically watch for the 618 right here. If not, then it's possible that this would basically be our wave one. This would be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically a wave one within the third. So the other area of zone to watch for on the downside would actually be right before it. So basically 375. So 375, 360 be a couple zones of interest if I was, again, looking for a long position, but I would expect it to come back down. Test within here, so I think it's got a little bit of room to go on the downside, but I'd like to see it bounce right here at the 50 or at the 45 on the RSI and stay out of the bearish control zone and find a little bit of support there. So all right, cool. I'll hit strong USDT real quick and then I'll call it a day. All right, so this is the 4 hour. Man, those wicks are nasty. All right, so basically I would look at this as a 1. So we're a 1, 2. Three. Not a big fan of that one. This is somewhat coming across as a potential wave 4. Some of these wicks are throwing me off a little bit. Yeah, that was one that I was looking at right here. But this would be a 3-wave move right here. So basically, why I would look at it like this, have our 1, 2, this would be the 3. This would be a 4th wave down, and then this would be basically our 5th leg up. Basically, this whole thing right here is like a WX and a Y correction, or a WXYZ. But this leg right here, it ties this one together. So I'd probably look at it more like that. Break the 1.618 a little bit, which is okay. And let's see where this guy lands. Pretty close to the 1.618, which would be an expanded flat, which is okay. It's fine for a 4th wave. Holding our support level, yep, back here, basically 122, holding that. And then with this move up, I mean, that's a pretty strong move up. And I would look at that as a potential wave 1 to start the 5th wave here. So I'll basically have that as a 1, 2, 3, 4. and a 5. With an extended third, I'd look for an extended 5th to get up to about 315 or so. So that would be my end target on the north side. Let's move these real quick. Our invalidation for this to be a wave 1 would be a break of where it started. So basically, if it broke 120, that'd be invalidated. And I'd look for a move here to the 786, which is very common for alts. So at 130, I would look for that to hold. But again, I'd look for this overall as an ABC. Coming across very 3 waves, which is what to expect for a wave 2. But yeah, I'd look for a bounce basically 130, 129. I'd look for, find that as support and bounce and take off and go to the races from there. So cool. All right, guys, I'll call that a day. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the support. Make sure you guys join the Facebook group if you have not already. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the Discord. Get a lot more interaction and charts in the Discord where you can interact and ask for my feedback, post your charts, post your thoughts and your shares. Definitely a little bit more interaction, more education, and help master the markets overall together. So I do appreciate the time, appreciate the feedback, appreciate the support, and I'll catch you guys hopefully in one of those channels, but if not, then definitely on the next video. So have a great night, guys. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, see you guys.